Welcome back to our course, and we are now on the application of Edge. Not in online, but what I want to show you is where you can find um, Edge application insulation, windows, and shading. And let's start how it is done at Edge. So you have now the background of insulation and the material. Now I want to show you how Edge is dealing with the assessment of insulation and window and shading. So for example, it is actually quite interesting that Edge is insulation, window and shading are under energy. So you can see it here, not under materials. That's because of Edge materials by with the materials, the main concern with materials is actually the embodied energy. However, say that you will find also insulation materials under materials, and you will also find windows frames under materials, but in a different context in the field of embodied energy. So let's start. The last three presentations we had insulation, we had windows, and we had shading. So I marked these three, and this is from a case in Ulaanbaatar. So these are actual data. So if you go into Edge, they have technical instructions and examples of insulation materials. So if you're not sure which kind of insulation material is there, you always can have a look at the technical instructions there. So they give you the different, we were talking about, for example, the blow-in insulation, which kind of U value. This is actually not the U value, this is the conductivity range. Why it is conductivity range? Because it's depending on the thickness, and that's what the Edge is then doing. You just put the material, which kind of insulation you're using, which kind of technology, and then the thickness. So for example, Edge insulation, we have the wall, so you can put your insulation sprayed polyurethane foam, then you give the thickness, you have to give the surface area, and it will give you then the U value, and that's what you have to put into the Edge software. And then in the software you have actually the possibilities of different kind of insulation material. So you just click on it, polystyrene for example, and then it will show up in the software. So for Windows, again, you have a description in the user guide, and so it's explaining the background of low E coated glass and windows, and where you have the code, where to put the code in the different kind of climate, and so on. Though there's plenty of materials which you can read into it, and if you're not sure, so it's a kind of a encyclopedia, I think, encyclopedia, yep. And but that's how it looks then when you put it into the software. So you have the different kind of areas which you have to put in. So the glass area and the solar heat gain coefficient, we had that before. That was when I was talking about the windows and the G value, and that one here. So Edge is using that value, and then I think that was the U value. Yeah, so you can calculate the windows if you do not have the information from the producer. And here you have the worms, and we are still here now in the materials. That's what I mentioned before. Of course, you know that they're running under energy, but they're also running under materials. And it's important, for example, the window frame, from which kind of material it is used. So timber, for example, will be a better value for the embodied energy of the for your edge calculation to be a green building for than for aluminium, because aluminium needs much more energy to be produced in the as a window. So let's see how the last slide. Yep, we have still one to go. Also here you can see the Edge provides a latitude map for the calculation of the AASF, and I wrote it there and I cannot remember what it was, but here it's written annual average shading factor. This is also an indicator at a measurement at edge. And for example, I put a red dot here for roughly Ulaanbaatar, so above 50 grade north. And this is important to actually get the right calculation. So you have the annual average shading factor. So you have to put the orientation of your building, not of the building, but of the shading. And then you have to put in which kind of shading you put there, and it will calculate for you. So it's all, you just actually at Edge, you just have to fill in the form, but you have to know what you fill in. And if you have problems with that, there's another slide, and it's always that you have that very good handbook which comes with it, and it's showing you how to actually measure what you have to put into the software, how you measure it, and what they want from you to make a good calculation. So that's only one slide of the shading. There are plenty more. So much to the edge, shading, window, and insulation. It's straightforward, easy to handle, and the next will be, I'm not sure what will be the next video. I have to look in my files. I guess it will be a surprise. Hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much for listening.